This AgVision program is made possible through the generous support of Syngenta Seeds NK brand. The results you need, the freedom to choose. And by Farms.com. Ag news, market prices, ag careers, and farm real estate. You'll find it all at Farms.com.
Today, the Top Manager team has a single focus to provide you with specific strategies that will help you secure more profits and mitigate your exposure to risk. We begin this session with Danny Kleinfelter from Texas A&M.
One of the most successful strategies I've seen is employed by a Midwest corn and soybean farmer who prices his grain over a 2-year period of time. For example, for his 2006 corn crop, this period would have started in October 2005 and then run through October 2007. His approach relies on two things. First, he knows his total cost, including his cost of living, and second, he knows his 5-year rolling average yield. When he uses this information, he calculates what his per bushel break-even price would be based on using 80% of his average yield. He then places a standing order with his grain broker to price 80% of his expected production if the market hits that price at any point on any day. The other 20% of his production is where he makes any profit. Over the last 20 years, the market has never failed to reach his break-even price during the 2-year pricing window. In the process, he accepts the fact that he has never hit the market high, but he also recognizes that it's real hard to go broke if you never lose money.
It's good for us to fall back on history. What has been our experience over the last 10 years, 20 years, or more even? It comes back really to those 3 points we've talked about in the past. Number one, a good place to start is to know our cost of production. We keep on harping on this, but it really does help us to know where we begin to make money. Once you know your cost of production, the second step kicks in. We really should look at our history and understand the seasonality in our business. One of the things we'll tell clients is that in the vast majority of years, if we price a crop by the first week in July, in the year that it is planted, we do well. Even if it's a year like we're currently in, 1995, last time this happened, when we have very, very good or very high harvest prices, that really gives us an opportunity to price better in forthcoming years. If we try and plan our selling or marketing as if we're always going to have 2006s or 1995s, that would not have worked. So going back to the thought right from the beginning, really 3 basic things that are a starting tool that we can use. Understand our costs. Number 2, understand the seasonality in our business. Once we understand the seasonality in our business, then the third step is having a plan. We can decide, for instance, use a very simple step plan where we sell, let's say, 10% of our crop. Once we start making money, profit, that could be 10 cents a bushel over our cost. And then we may decide to sell 10% for every 5 or 10 cent move higher. Bearing in mind what we've said in the second step, which is by the first week in July, we really want to be done in most years. I would say this is a very basic tool or methodology that we can use to try and improve our marketing.
What we've observed over the last, 3 years is that farmers in Canada have been really hurt by exchange rate movement. And my observation from working with a number of people is that there's probably nothing that people complain about more in Canada and do less about than exchange rate risk and the weather. In the case of exchange rate risk, you can do something, and to me the simple thing is to buy U.S. dollar calls and hold them for about 4 months and roll them continuously. Just use them as insurance. They cost a little bit of money, but you can basically usually buy about $100,000 worth of protection for $900, and that gives you it will have really mitigated a lot of the risk over a period of time when the dollar is going up. It's all timing as far as I'm concerned in terms of these markets, because whatever's happening today, something different will be happening tomorrow. And figuring out how to read charts and take advantage of the opportunities the market offer is, I think, a very significant part of being in the commodity production business these days.
Well, we have a very interesting scenario right now globally, where we've got a fairly short crop in some key commodities, particularly wheat, and This is a commodity that's a generic commodity where many of the countries that are short will buy this from the cheapest source. And we have a short crop in the northern hemisphere and even a shorter crop in the southern hemisphere. And we're seeing some opportunities right now in wheat prices that we haven't seen in many, many years. One of the essential parts of risk management that is often overlooked is clearly understanding your cost of production and then setting some specific goals for what level of margin you need in your business to succeed. And when you exceed those margins, you start seriously looking at marketing opportunities. We have an opportunity right now, if you're a wheat producer, to sell wheat at prices that are 150% of what we saw a year ago. And if you look at your cost of production and say, that gives me an opportunity to lock in way above what my normal profit margin goal would be, why would you not consider pricing at least part of your production, not only for the current year, but for next year and possibly even 2008. Many producers get so focused on what they're doing right now that they don't look at the fact that they're in the business for the long term. And anytime you have an opportunity in the market to lock in prices that are well above your anticipated cost of production and well above long-term price averages, this is one area where I think we have a great opportunity to reduce risk in our business. And coupled with that, if we have good solid insurance programs that ensure that we'll have at least a portion of our normal production to market one way or another, there simply is no excuse for not locking in some of these long-term price opportunities.